Hi everyone and welcome to the best anime series of 2024, part 4. I'm your host today, Jimaku Brimston. It's been a while since I've talked about anime on this channel. 2024 wasn't that great, to be honest. I think that overall we had 60 or 70 great animes to watch. Everything else was very average or insulting at best. This time I have 12 shows to recommend you. Blue Lock vs U20 Japan. So this is the second season of Blue Lock, which I've already recommended you in some previous episode of this series. It's about soccer, so football. I must say I've enjoyed this season and I thought it would be the ending to the anime, but then I remembered, hey Jim, you live in a capitalistic society. If something became a success, we're going to bleed it dry, milk it till it dies, so I cannot wait for another 8 to 12 seasons of Blue Lock, only 300 episodes. Every single time you're going to have a bigger opponent, a bigger enemy team to destroy, and it never ends because you need to be on top. But even if you're on top, someone can try to remove you from the top. Sorry for that sarcastic comment, but it's always like that. One Piece has over 1000 episodes. Why haven't you found the treasure yet? One Piece is almost older than me. When is it going to end? Will I even be alive when it finishes? Or will I die and I won't find out what's going to happen? The treasure was the journey and friends you've made along the way. I am 100% sure that's going to be the ending to One Piece. And for Blue Lock, I have no idea what's going to be the ending, because, as I stated, I think that we have another 10 to 20 years of watching Blue Lock. But Blue Lock, well, it's about those dudes who want to be the best strikers in soccer, the ones who take the shot. And there's this dude, he's called Ego, and he wants to create the best team of strikers ever, the biggest egoist who's going to stand at the top of Japanese soccer, and they're going to win the world championship and all of that stuff. When it's a sports anime, it makes all of that stuff interesting because of the drama and the characters' motivations and their backstories and all of that, so it always works for some reason, and this time it's no different. It's not a perfect show, could have been better, but I just loved the ending here and strength that was needed for this final match to happen. We're going to get more seasons. Hopefully they are going to retain the quality of the first two. So if you like beautiful boys and soccer and fights and I need to be the best, so watch Blue Lock, it's right up your alley. Now let's move on to something better. Uzumaki Spiral into Horror. So this is based on that scary dude, what was his name, Jinji Yuta or something like that. Uzumaki is interesting. It's basically about this small Japanese town where weird things are happening because everywhere are spirals, I don't want to spoil more because I've started watching this with only this information that I've just provided to you. I didn't even read this description here. And as I was watching it, it was becoming better and better, especially the final episode, which I didn't even knew that it was final at the time. I thought that more things were coming. The best thing about this anime is the atmosphere. Usually scary stuff happens at night, to make you feel tension and despair and you're scared, and there's a jump scare and but jump scare is never scary because it's just your body response to something, suddenly up your face. That's not fear. Real fear is disappointment, failure, unexplainable. And there's a lot of unexplainable things happening in Uzumaki. The sun is up there and you still cannot escape the horror, the bad things happening. This is what I love about this show. It reminds me of my favorite video games like Clive Barker's Undying, Fear 1. You weren't like a victim there, you could shoot anything, kill all your enemies, but you did not feel safe. And while watching Uzumaki, you have that feeling that something is not right, and the characters also know it, but they don't know what exactly is not right. They're trying to figure that out. I do enjoy this stuff. Go watch it because it's very short. It's like 2 hours long. You don't even have to enjoy horror or thrillers because it's just an interesting story overall. Kinokoinu, Mushroom Pub. So yeah, this one is very heavy at the beginning. It's about this dude who's like an artist and he lost his dog. His dog has died, rest in peace. He cannot basically move on after that loss. So it's already very relatable to me, and I'm sure that to some of you it's also like that. I've lost my dog when I was like 13 or 14, and I've never gotten a second dog after that because the loss is just too much. Like, you will always feel a hole in yourself that you cannot fill. Kinokoinu is basically about that. The dude is miserable, and in the first episode a mushroom grows in his garden, and it's like a dog mushroom, and he needs to take care of the dog mushroom, Kinokoinu, and it's basically about their adventures and how Kinokoinu is trying to help the dude move on. It's very wholesome, but also very drama-induced because, losing someone gives you PTSD. It makes you, like the life is not worth living. So the first 2 to 3 episodes are very dark and very heartbreaking. After that, it kinda loses its more darker edge, it's more positive, but it's still a fun watch all the way, something to watch and think about your life. I always forget to talk about the animation in these videos, so when it comes to this anime and all of the previous ones I've talked today, they have great art style. Like, I have nothing to complain about. The animation, the drawing, all of that works. I'm not sure if we're going to get a second season of this one because, at least to me, the final felt finite, but it's great. It's great. I've enjoyed it more than Blue Lock second season. It's fun. So go check it out if you like dogs and drama, but also funny stuff and wholesome vibes all the way. Dandadan. So this is for some reason the most popular anime of 2024. I had no clue that this would blow up as it did. I think I've watched through 300 or 400 anime in 2024 alone, and I can never, pinpoint which one is going to blow up and which one is going, to remain obscure. So Dandadan is a crazy anime about this girl Momo. She believes in like ghosts and shit, and the other dude Okayun is like, aliens are real, like in that meme, aliens, yeah. And they basically have to fight both aliens and witches and all of that ghost shit because I think a ghost stole Okayun's balls. He has a penis but he doesn't have balls, and that's the main premise of the show, to find his balls. It's like, is this a Gintama episode? Because it has that vibe to it. It's a silly show. Sadly, it has some ecchi elements. I hate that stuff, but it's present here. I don't enjoy it as much, but everything else is on point. I do enjoy the animation, the fights. The characters are mostly fun, like Momo's grandma is funny, but also there's too much of comedy that is based on, you know, violence, like basically people beating each other, like I don't like the conflict. It's very tedious to me because it reminds me of those animes I was watching when I was like 10 or 12 years old, and I was like, this is fucking stupid. And it's still popular in Japan, you know, like, haha, look, these characters hate each other and they are going to kick the shit out of each other and laugh at violence, laugh at how they don't respect each other at all. I have never felt like that stuff was funny, and it's not funny here, but everything else is on point. The romantic stuff, well, it exists here. We're going to see if it's going to be resolved in a future season or not. I hope it will. I don't want to watch another show where I have to wait 300 episodes for the characters to say, yeah, I love you too. So yeah, that's how I feel about Dandadan. It's like 7 out of 10. I did enjoy it. I love the openings and the endings, the animations, the fights. Some of the banter between main characters is funny, the romantic elements also okay. One of the episodes was very, very sad to me. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, it was heartbreaking. I'm not going to talk about which one. I'm sure if you've watched the show, you know what I mean by my words right now. Negative, positive, Angler. I have no clue how this one is called in Japanese. It's an original work, so it doesn't have a manga. And I must say that this was the biggest surprise for me this year, because this is basically an anime about fishing. There's this dude, Tsunehiro Sasaki, and he has like a large debt, and he also has like 2 years to live because he has cancer or some shit. And he's like, life is meaningless. So he tries to commit chop suey. We know what he tries. System way down, chop suey, MP3, do. Where angels deserve to die. So he is saved by one of the fishermen, who's like this young guy. I forgot his name, but he has like a pink hair or violet hair, whatever. They become friends, and he starts to work at a fishing shop, and he goes fishing with the dudes and the girls. And it has like such a positive, wholesome vibe, the show, you know, where he has friends and they have adventures, but also there's that looming dread of death, because he only has 2 years to live. So there's like drama, but also comedy. The comedy is actually right up my alley in this show. Like, it's not disrespectful towards the characters, like no one is going to beat the shit out of each other because someone walked in or on someone changing. This always annoys me in anime, like it's so childish and tedious, so that stuff is not present here. I loved this show. It was a positive surprise, one of the best animes I've watched in 2024. It's short but sweet, all of the characters are likable. The animation was also great. I really enjoyed one of the episodes about the older fisherman. It's not about his relation with his children, but other episode where at the end we find out something about the old dude. It was so funny to me in a positive way. So yeah, give this one a shot if you like comedy and drama. More serious topics, comedy that is not based on violence but more on a funny situation and relationships between the characters. Loner life in another world. So this one was actually the biggest surprise to me, because when I started watching this, I was like, this is so stupid. Like, we've got again an entire class of people sent to another world, another isekai. Like, wow, you've just died because a panda was thrown in out of airplane and it jumped on your head and you were crushed, and now you're in another world and you have to fight the demon king or some other shit. You see, I've just came up with another isekai anime, and now someone is going to steal this idea and it will actually become an anime. Like, I can already see someone taking this plot because I cannot stand isekais already because there's so much of them. I think that trend started around 2016 or 2017 and it hasn't let go since then. Like every year there's like 50 to 100 animes about just isekai, and they have always the same premise. A dude had a diarrhea and he died, and now he's in another world because the goddess sent him to a fantasy world and now he needs to save the world, or just have a decent life, because in Japan he cannot have a decent life because he needs to work for a corporation that is going to basically abuse him physically and mentally until he wants to die. And there's like loneliness epidemic in most of the countries, so you're like alone in your flat and you want to die, but you can watch an anime about isekai, about different world where people actually like you and respect you and you are happy and you don't need to work 16 hours a day for a minimum wage. Yeah, go watch this right now. I feel like that entire genre of anime is just psyops, so their workers will not, end themselves. It sounds silly, it sounds stupid, I know, but that's just what I feel like is happening here. So this one, again, we have a class that is sent to another world. We have this dude who is like a loner. He doesn't like to talk to other people, he just wants to be by himself, and the entire story is like he will learn that having fun with people is also a viable option. Like, you don't have to be alone all of the time. And the first 2 episodes, I'm not going to lie to you, I was thinking about dropping this anime because it was another generic thing with annoying characters, but it grew on me. The next episodes were actually quite interesting. Yet again, we have that annoying humor of when women basically want to beat up the main character because a girl is in love with him, but she won't tell him, and then she sees that another woman is hugging him, so she needs to beat the shit out of the main character because she's jealous. And I'm like, this is an assault, you can go to jail for that shit. This is annoying, this is so unrealistic. It's like those people never seen a woman and a dude in a one room talking to each other. This is how I feel about those stories. So I don't like that comedy elements. Everything else was good, This is one of the weaker animes I'm recommending to you, but it just has been such a weak season overall that I've actually enjoyed this one. Like, it was fun, it was interesting. The main character is likable because he isn't a dick, he just wants to be left alone, and I vibe with that. The most notorious talker runs the world's greatest clan. So this is probably the most edgy anime of the season. We have this main dude, Noel, and his grandpa was called like Overdeath, and he was a legendary hero, but he died saving his village, and now Noel wants to be the same, hero as his grandpa, but not a hero in a good sense. He just wants to be at the top by any means necessary. So that means deception and lying to people, like sacrificing others for his own goals. So yeah, the main character is kinda a dick, to be quite honest. But on the other hand, other characters that you meet in this world are either just as bad as him or even worse. So I feel like it's done on purpose so you could feel sympathy towards the main character, but I wouldn't want to live in a world like portrayed in this anime. But yet again, I live on Earth with humanity, which is even worse, so yeah. Anyways, yeah, it's a fun anime, not that great to be honest, but it was something different. It's not an isekai, it's basically about fighting those monsters that want to overtake their world, and they are just trying to survive, and Noel is trying to create the best group of people that will stand against evil, and they will be at the top of the world, basically They want to save the world, but they also want to be recognized as the best. Sword Art Online Alternative, Gale Online 2. Wow, I didn't actually even knew that this one would get a sequel. I remember watching the first Gale Online when it was released, like in 2017, 16. It was years ago. I was young, I was full of life, I had dreams, and now I'm a YouTuber. Sorry for that. So, Gale Online 2 is not on the same level as the first season, but it's still very entertaining, it's interesting. I do enjoy the characters because they were likable in the first season. Here we get two different subplots. One is about basically again fighting for being the best, I guess, player in that game, and the second subplot is quite more interesting and I don't want to spoil it for you. So go check this out if you like action, sci-fi, Sword Art Online if you like it. It has one funny reference to the original Sword Art Online. One of the characters from this show met Kirito. So yeah, that's like wow, they mentioned Kirito, wow. And I'm like, yeah, great. Who would have guessed that they will make a reference to the main series when this series is basically called Sword Art Online? Like, it has that in the title. It was fun. I did enjoy the banter between the characters, the story, the animation. It's all fun. Some of the battles here were wow. I did not expect them. Everything else was just standard Gale Online stuff, so go check that out. You're not going to be disappointed. Next, Let This Grieving Soul Retire. I loved this show because I've noticed that the narrator is the same dude that dubbed Gintoki in Gintama, so I was always happy hearing him here. This show is about this dude who is at the top of one group of hunters. What's his name? Cry Andrew. Like, okay, I'm going to call him Cry from this point on. Cry doesn't cry, but he's Cry. Understand? So, like, he's at the top, but he just is there, like, by a mistake. Like, he's in a group where everyone is very, very talented, and he just likes to collect relics that give him powers, and on its own he's just like a normal, polite guy that just wants to collect the relics and be left in peace. But everyone around him like has that notion about him that he's the greatest, he's a thinker, like he's a genius, you know, and it leads to a lot of comedic elements in the show where he just says something and they like misinterpret it as something else, and it creates chaos or hilarity ensues. So yeah, that's the whole show. I did not actually expect to like this one as much as I did, because the first episode was like, it's okay, but every other episode ramps up the madness, and then in the middle we have a subplot that it's not that great, to be honest. Like, I feel like it's a filler stuff, but when the auction happens, not action but auction, and that's probably one of the more hilarious stuff about this show. So give this one a shot. If you won't enjoy the middle part of the show, just persevere through it, because the last 2 to 3 episodes are actually quite fun. They are on a higher level, I would say, than most of this show. I would love to see a second season if they can ramp up the comedy and like focus more on it, less on some weird, you know, story that doesn't even make sense here. Yeah, this one has potential. Next, Blue Exorcist Beyond the Snow Saga. So I am not even sure if this is the 3rd or 4th season of Blue Exorcist. The previous season, I remember that I've talked about it, how I really did not enjoy it. The second was okay, I think, or the third. Again, I don't remember. One of the seasons of Blue Exorcist was recommended in this series that I'm running on YouTube. The other was not, because it was very disappointing. And this one I am surprised because yet again it's a great season. If you've never watched Blue Exorcist, then to put it shortly, it's about those two dudes who are like sons of Satan, and they are like exorcists trying to fight the demons, but there is something bad in the background lurking, some mystery, so you have to watch and find out what that is. This season, Beyond the Snow Saga, focuses more on this girl. I forgot her name. It's right here, right at the top, and she's one of my favorite characters from this show, so it was nice seeing more background for her character and motivations. We also have the cool priest who passes away, I think, in the first episode of Blue Exorcist. So yeah, a lot of flashbacks, lots of crazy things happening story-wise. The story is like turned to 11. It's so fun. And now another season is already coming out, and I am also stoked because finally something interesting is happening in Blue Exorcist, and it just going forward very fast. We're going to see where all of that leads, hopefully to some interesting conclusion in the future. I did enjoy Beyond the Snow Saga, just give it a shot. The story is the best part here right now, then the animation, the music, the characters, the motivations of that stuff. Demon Lord 2099. This one is a mixed bag because it starts like the hero basically destroys the Demon Lord, but the Demon Lord says that he's going to come back someday. And then like thousands or hundreds of years have passed and Demon Lord wakes up from his slumber. But it's the year 2099 and humanity, demons, all of that stuff went up so far technologically wise that he's just left behind and he becomes a bum. So naturally he becomes a Twitch streamer and he tries to amass followers. That's like the main plot that's happening the first 2 episodes. I'm not going to tell you more because I don't want to spoil this show because I've actually quite enjoyed it. It had some weird turns here and there, like the main vibe of the show is changing all the time. Like sometimes it's very dramatic and serious, and then it's like an episode of Gintama, like haha, funny, yeah, weird humor, yeah, weird comedy, and then it becomes like generic anime, like think about your feelings, and then yet again it becomes something else entirely. So it's hard to talk about it when I don't want to spoil anything. Just go watch this one. I don't know if you're going to enjoy it, but you might. I want a second season because the story has not concluded. And the last anime I want to recommend you, Yon Kamonohashi's Forbidden Deductions Season 2. So I've already talked about the first season, one of the episodes of this show. This is anime about Ron, a child of Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty. Moriarty was the father and Holmes was the mother. So what was the name of Sherlock Holmes if Sherlock Holmes is a woman? Was it like Sherlockina? Sherlockini? I have no clue. This season 2 has some very fantastic cases, I must say. 2 of them, one in the middle and one at the end. I was like so invested in the story. I was like, what is going to happen next? I love a good mystery and this show delivers on that. The characters are likable, the story is fantastic, the animation is okay, it's good, nothing I can complain about. Go watch this one, it's worth your time. So those were the 12 animes I wanted to recommend you this season. My predictions for 2025 are that there are going to be more isekai animes, another 2 to 4 anime shows that are going to blow up, that will be similar to Jujutsu Kaisen and Dandadan and all of that stuff, and on every cosplay convention you're going to see all of those characters. Besides that, I feel like some ecchi anime shows are going to make a return. because in 2024 I've noticed that they have been like brewing more of those shows where, hey, a monk, you want to become a monk, but there are 6 women in the monastery and they're interested in you. So that stuff has been like returning slowly. It's not a good thing. Also, I feel like yet again we're going to be surrounded by animes about idols, mecha stuff, and card games. All of that shit is returning, so I am not looking forward to that. I wish you and I wish to myself that we're going to get more animes that would be similar to Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, because it's been a long time since I've seen something so interesting like Brotherhood. I would love to see something like that. Hopefully it will happen in 2025. So that's all from me. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram, links in the description. Also, comment down below what were your favorite animes of 2024. I would love to hear about that. Also, do you watched already some of the recommendations that I gave to you today? Who knows, maybe you've already seen all of that stuff, or maybe you want to check out something. Yeah, so happy new year, wishing you all the best in 2025. Let's survive it together. I will see you next time. Bye!